The current bull run of assets moving up and up in the stock market is the second longest bull run in history, having already lasted 104 months so far, and the longest bull run in history ending up in the year 2000, and what a great year that was. With the current stock market rally already being very, very long, many institutional investors and individuals of considerable wealth are making contingency plans for what will be the stock market's inevitable turn. So as Overstock CEO is calling for the world to start using real money like gold or some form of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, will it actually be Bitcoin itself that is the next safe haven during the next stock market crash? And will the stock market really even crash? Will it ever crash again? It's also like asking, is Bitcoin in a bubble and will the markets go up and down? And what will it mean to break the $10,000 psychological barrier for Bitcoin when there's only never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins? And if printing money hasn't solved the world's problems so far, is it time for us to start Plan B? Let's discuss. Hello everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. If you're new or not, tap that like button and subscribe to the show because your support, it helps other people, it helps us, it brings us together. And leave your questions and comments if you have them in the comments box below so your voice is being heard as part of this community. So in this show, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about the stock market. We're going to be talking about, bubbles and money. We're going to be talking about not just Bitcoin, but a little bit of Ethereum and how this affects you in terms of the disasters that we've gone through before in the past. Let it be way back in the year 2000 when we had our very longest stock market rally ever, leading into the dot-com bubble bursting, or let it be the financial catastrophe that was the worst ever since the Great Depression in the year 2008 to 2010, or let it be the next one, which is inevitably going to pop up and it's going to affect a lot of us. And as so many people have been calling Bitcoin a scam, calling Bitcoin a fraud, let it be Jamie Dimon or let it be regulators or politicians, traditional institutional investors, individuals with wealth, people who are intelligent enough to know that they don't have all the answers, as opposed to being a little weaker in the mind and thinking that they know everything. And, this is going to be a very large situation because when the turn does happen and a lot of companies do start seeing massive issues with their liquidity, with how much money they have as their stocks are being sold off, there's going to be a huge, pressure for them to lay people off. And that's going to be coming at a time when banks are going to be having a difficult time releasing new money into the system and balancing that with them buying assets. The current system, if you listen to the professionals in the mainstream or the professionals on YouTube, everyone really does mention and does talk about how everything is stretched, how everything is maxed. It's just a difference of opinion if everything is maxed and everything is fine, or everything is maxed and we're in a serious situation that we need to start looking at. And so with that being said, why don't we take a look at the market, see where we are today as we're reaching toward this $10,000 psychological number for Bitcoin that we've been talking about, since we very first started this station, as a lot of people have been talking about, as Max Kaiser has been talking about. A lot of people are going to start paying attention about Bitcoin when it hits $1,000, which happened less than a year ago. Less than a year ago, Bitcoin was first hit $1,000. It was less than 11 months ago from today that Bitcoin first reached $1,000. And now, less than 1 year later, we are at over $9,700. So with that being said, let's take a look at the market, peek around the internet for the news, and then let's discuss. And so starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, taking a peek at where we are in the world with over 1,322 different cryptocurrencies listed, even more out there that aren't listed. We have a current market capitalization that is $0.3 trillion. Can you believe that? $0.3 trillion, over $303 billion total market capitalization, with over half of that, $162.3 billion in Bitcoin, which gives Bitcoin a BTC dominance of 53.5%, still over that 50% mark. What I'm predicting is that we are going to reach toward that $10,000 price. I think it's going to be really difficult for us to not reach that $10,000 price. Although I do lean toward the idea that because last year we didn't reach $1,000 until just after the new year, I think that, you know, it's a good chance that we're going to be flirting with this this $10,000 price. But, you know, looking at the day, geez, we're 3 days away from December 1st, and then we have a whole another month left. Either we're going to hit $10,000 very, very soon, and then the market is going to correct, or it's just going to be flirting with this price up until the end of the new year. I don't know. It's anyone's guess. We're starting to ourselves to take a look at the technical analysis of the markets, to technical analysis of Bitcoin, of Ethereum, and a few of the coins and tokens that we think have incredible utility of being strong stores of value, messaging services, and systems alike, to get more of an understanding of how the subconscious reality is actually manifesting itself, and, you know, not just a current market value of where these assets are, but seeking to get a better understanding, a better prediction about where these are going to go in the future. Because while there's possibilities for these things to skyrocket and moon overnight, there is a sort of method to the madness where at least we could understand and you know, draw analysis and theories about why some of these things are happening. And so we'll have more information for you about that TA, about that technical analysis in future shows. Might be a separate show. We'll see how that works out. Yeah, so overall, what do we have? We have a, you know, green across the market in terms of the USD. If we take a look in the prices in terms of the BTC, which is where we want to be, we see that the IOTA is up 18.5%. We have Ethereum Classic up 11%. We have Cardano up 22.9%. We got some things doing really well. Taking a look at Zen, you know, we're looking at Zen. It's down 11%. Still up in terms of BTC from where it was, you know, not too long ago, earlier this week. You can see how it was a steady rise earlier this week, as a lot of the coins did go under. Zencash we're really, really excited about because of the secure node system that they're planning on releasing in about 7 to 10 days, and then putting payments online as soon as, let's say, 3 or 4 weeks away. And so to run a Zencash secure node takes 42 Zen, and that's going to be paying out. There's, you know, we did a couple videos about that. Take a look at that. Really, really interesting stuff. So taking a look at the internets, you know, this is really exciting. We're talking about this $10,000 Bitcoin price. Everyone wants to get on board. The train is leaving. I'm a little concerned because I feel as if once we hit that $10,000 psychological price, that it's going to trigger a lot of sell orders, and a lot of people are going to seek to sell out of their Bitcoin. A lot of people are going to seek to take that price and move it into the alts. I think we're going to see the alts increase in price significantly, but I can't predict at what value new money is going to come into the Bitcoin space versus the rate that that Bitcoin money and that Ethereum money is going to cycle into the alt tokens before we have the, you know, the altcoin bubble bursting boom there. Because while I don't think Bitcoin is a bubble, you know, all of these tokens and all of these digital assets out there that are not backed up by technology that is new, different, or first, you know, do have threatening risks on their horizon as the world will consolidate as we move closer to 2020 than into 2022. We also, you know, talking about Ethereum real quick, you know, Vitalik Buterin, you know, there's been some quotes and some tweets and some talks about him saying that Ethereum is the only Ethereum killer that matters. and that Ethereum is the only Ethereum killer that people need to be aware of. And while at the same time, Ethereum does have some glaring issues that need to be resolved in the future, which Vitalik details out. And it seems as if, from our perspective, that Vitalik is really focused on decentralization, and that gives us a lot of hope and trust in the Ethereum project, because while the DAO is a huge black mark on the history of Ethereum, if they do achieve deep, high functioning decentralization on a mass global scale that's able to compete with Visa, then that's a very good thing, because something that we support is projects that are open source. We support projects that are decentralized, and we support projects that have high levels of visibility inside the community. So what we have here is that privacy is one of the issues, scalability is one of the issues. Making sure that we can scale Ethereum without sacrificing decentralization is one of the core focuses that I have on the project, and it's great to know that Vitalik also has that as a core focus as well. We have Plasma and Radian that are two options worth exploring to form an on-chain perspective, from an on-chain perspective, and this is the direction that Ethereum is going. And now there's still a huge opportunity with tokens and digital assets that are going to be competing with Ethereum, like NEO, like EOS. There's definitely potential for traders to make money as inevitably all these different markets go up, as the cycle of news and development does take place. And I think what it's important for us to recognize at a technological perspective, that really behind the scenes, what's most important for any of these developers, what's most important for any of the people who really care about any of these projects, is the network effect. That ultimately there's only going to be one internet, and that protocol is going to be the protocol that takes over, right? It's like the TCP IP, if you know what those mean. Or with email, it's SMTP. And so SMTP is a protocol that is how email works. It's possible for a different protocol to be out there. Maybe there is a different protocol for sending email out there, but the world is all communicating use that protocol, because that is the protocol that has dominated the network effect across the world, right? There could be two different types of awesome fax machines that were created, but if everybody has the one type of fax machine, then everyone has to use that fax machine, because even if the other fax machine is better and nobody can connect to it, then that better thing is not going to succeed, because not as people are part of that network. The network effect is very, very real. There's lots of theories and mathematics around the network effect. And just as Bitcoin and Ethereum are superseding in the network effect for their particular utilities and applications of their technology, what we see and what we talked about in the past is that we have second layer protocols that are going to be competing for the network effect of the second layer. So they're the dominant second layer of that blockchain. So that might be Lightning Network on Bitcoin, and on Ethereum is going to be either Plasma or Microsoft's Coco, or there's lots of different options available. And so while those options are being worked on, everyone's working on their particular projects, and while they're working on their projects, they're just watching the price of Bitcoin go up and up and up and up. We have that per Bitcoin price right now of where were we at, of $9,700 currently, and everyone is just psychologically waiting for this price, at which time there could be a lot of sell orders, it could be consolidation, or it can trigger even more money to come into the space as the Chicago Mercantile Exchange comes online, and then there's a lot of additional money going to the price of Bitcoin to push that price both up and down. And so this is what it's like to be in Bitcoin. It's going up, it's going up, it's going up, just a little bit more, almost there. And then you realize there's a new high, right? It's like we were talking about this earlier in the show. A lot of people are going to be talking about Bitcoin when it hits $1,000. And then even more people are going to be getting into Bitcoin when Bitcoin reaches $10,000. We are now at that $10,000 mark. And beyond $10,000, what's next? $25,000? $50,000? $100,000? So forth and so on. literally the sky's the limit. Once we hit like $100,000 and people are talking about $1 million, then people are going to start talking about $2 million Bitcoin, $10 million Bitcoin. Really what's possible, how much money is in the world. We've done a video on that as well. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of money. So this was another funny meme. So when you've been surviving on the ramen for the past 2 years, but then you had to remember that you had a hard drive in your parents' attic, right? It's like what the new Big Bang episode is going to be about. People having just a little bit of Bitcoin. It's like, hey, didn't someone give me that 0.01 Bitcoin last year when it was $10, and realizing like right now, a year later, it's $100. Next year, it could be $1,000. And so who ultimately is going to win? Is it going to be hundreds and hundreds of financial institutions, or is it going to be Bitcoin? And so this is the question. This is the situation. This is what's going on. Some of these companies, are not going to exist in the future. Some of them are going to get bought out. Some of them are going to get consolidated. Some of them are going to get, a nail in their coffin from each other. And then many of them, are going to get a nail in the coffin with the help of Bitcoin. And so what these banks would traditionally be raking in terms of the profits, what these financial institutions would typically be making in terms of the fees, are instead going to be given back to the people who are using Bitcoin, because instead of paying those extra fees over here, they're going to be saving those fees, leaving that money back in their pocket, because they're going to be using Bitcoin and other forms of decentralized blockchain technology. And because where have we been in the past? These financial institutions working with banks, working with other banks, working with central banks, working with governments, and working with central banks and printing unlimited amounts of money. Printing money isn't solving the problems caused by printing money. More and more money is printed, more and more problems happen. More and more money is printed, more and more problems happen. In between there, we have a couple wars, and it's just a lot of despair and destruction instead of people coming together and society, really, really advancing. And so, what we have is the Bitcoin price. People who scoffed at the thought of $1,000 Bitcoin are scoffing at the thought of a $10,000 Bitcoin, and they're going to scoff at the thought of a $100,000 Bitcoin, is what we have here from this tweet from Jameson. And that's really true. And so, this is amplified, that tweet's amplified by this meme over here. Do you think that Bitcoin is still in a bubble when a Bitcoin guy is $1,000 and the person says yes? Okay, what about now at $5,000? And the person says yes. And he's like, what about now at $9,000 or $100,000? And people are going to continuously think that Bitcoin is a bubble. They're going to be naysayers because Bitcoin is going against the best interests of these guys. And so they're going to not believe in Bitcoin. They're going to scoff at Bitcoin and say it's a bubble. It's going against the best interests of these guys. And they're going to say, scoff at Bitcoin and say Bitcoin's a bubble. And we're going to see that pattern continue on and on as the value of Bitcoin goes higher and higher. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't follow some of those best practices that, financial advisors talk about, of which we're not, and none of this is financial advice. Yet they do talk about not risking more than what you can lose. They talk about diversifying, and balancing your portfolio every so often. Hedging against the risk of some catastrophe that could happen with Bitcoin, especially like a black swan event that we've talked about before. Let it be a black swan event within Bitcoin itself, or Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, or we don't even know, right? There's like several theoretical ways that Bitcoin could totally be destroyed, although highly unlikely. There's still best practices that you want to follow, right? So we don't want to just believe in Bitcoin so greatly that we are blind ourselves to the possibility of risk, because that would be very, very foolish, right? We're smarter than that. We know that things can go wrong in Bitcoin. It's just, I think that we're paying enough attention and are seeing enough anecdotal evidence and experimental evidence over the past 8 or 9 years of this experiment, and there's a lot of reason to believe what's happening in the world of Bitcoin, even though a lot of people are naysaying against it. So this was another cute meme. 85% of all crypto users are male. Time to get some ladies in there too. So typically, what we see is, we have this lady, unfortunately, domestically abusing her husband. Stop spending all of our money on Bitcoin. And then 3 years later, you see them in like this spa in their boat watching some movie on TV. Maybe, this would be like a Waves produced movie. So it's really fun to get in Bitcoin. It's really fun to get your significant other into Bitcoin. I'm sure your significant other is sick and tired of hearing about Bitcoin. But a family that Bitcoins together, cryptos together. It's definitely something for the whole family. Tell your kids about money, teach your kids about money, teach, just talk to other people about it, help other people get a Bitcoin wallet, help other people get just a small Bitcoin transaction, send them $5. There's ways to send, I mean, with this fee thing is semi-ridiculous because when the fees of Bitcoin aren't being spammed, if you know when to send these payments or how to expedite your payments without paying high fees, then you can send Bitcoin payments without paying these high fees all the time when the market is being manipulated or when there's legitimately a lot of usage, which usually the market is being spammed, it seems. Nevertheless, I digress. The point is to get your wife, get your kids a Bitcoin wallet, send them $5 in Bitcoin, let them watch that value go up. And that alone is the single best thing you can do for your own portfolio and Bitcoin adoption is to increase the network effect of people getting into Bitcoin. And so what am I trying to tell you? Am I trying to tell you that someday you're going to be able to take your Bitcoin and trade it for millions of dollars someday? And not me, but Neo, I'm Morpheus, because Morpheus may be a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, but Morpheus says, no, Neo, I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to, because everyone's going to be accepting Bitcoin. You're not going to need to trade your Bitcoin for dollars. You're just going to be able to take that Bitcoin and use it to buy other things, right? Even if you buy with Litecoin and atomically swap Bitcoin and Litecoin, you're not going to need dollars. People are just at that point, all the people that would never use cryptocurrency, they're totally going to have wallets. Because all those people who would never use cryptocurrency right now and they would never accept cryptocurrency and they don't want to hear it, and they don't want to talk about it, those are the very same people or the same psychology of people. Those folks did not want to have email. They wouldn't have email. They did not want to have websites. They wouldn't want to make websites. I've been building websites for a long time and helping businesses for a long time. And so, there's lots of businesses that said they're not going to have a website. They're never going to have a website. They don't need an email. They don't have an email. And what business owner in the world doesn't have an email address or a website now, right? It's like they will have these wallets. We all sort of recognize that. Because they're not going to want dollars. Who's going to pay in dollars? People are going to laugh at you if you accept dollars. It's going to think it's ridiculous. It's like not being able to shop online or not having a website online. It's going to be just like ridiculous if you're a business owner or just a consumer and you don't have one of these digital wallets. And it's the marketer's job and the job of the technology developers and engineers to make this easy and to make it easy in a way that does not sacrifice decentralization. So these links are all going to be in the show notes below. You can check this out. This is the Overstock CEO, Patrick Bryan, who says it's about time the world switches to real money, either gold or some cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Not necessarily Bitcoin, but Bitcoin nevertheless. And then we have this article coming out of Cointelegraph that says Bitcoin will be the safe haven during the next stock market crash, says this expert. And so the demand for Bitcoin is growing as the cryptocurrency market has become less volatile and as an increasing number of professional investors see it as insurance or a hedge. And I think Bitcoin could become more volatile as the CME goes underway, and when the crashes do happen, a lot of money comes into Bitcoin and little buying and selling between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. There's going to be a lot of that going on. So it will become more volatile. Time in the market is better than timing the market. And hodl, hodl, hodl. So anyway, we're in currently the second oldest bull market in history, according to Fortune, having lasted 104 months so far. And the last one ended after the year 2000 with a 113-month run. And so, last week we saw JP Morgan Chase announce plans to offer Bitcoin futures on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange after CEO Jamie Dimon was condemning Bitcoin as a scam. Very, very, very interesting turn of events, but it's just same story, different day. He was calling it a scam, and people, his people were buying and selling it while he was calling it a scam, right? And so he's calling it a scam, and now his people are going to be buying and selling it on, this new exchange. It's just same stuff, different day. What you hear and what they say is different from what they do, right? Very, very interesting to pay attention to that sort of stuff. And so online banking service providers and exchange operators, LedgerX and Revolt are also adopting Bitcoin support. And LedgerX, the former there, was recently cleared to offer Bitcoin derivatives. Bitcoin debts, Bitcoin, it's a financial tool, creates debts in Bitcoin, futures contracts, forward contracts, stuff like that. So when a stream of institutional investors started investing large amounts of capital into cryptocurrencies, some of the stunning predictions that have been made by Bitcoin bulls could be realized. Some of those stunning predictions of reaching a $10,000 Bitcoin price, which we are, a couple leaps away from, and then additional predictions of the $27,000 Bitcoin, $100,000 Bitcoin. This is definitely going up, and we're watching this move to the moon. Real quick. So wanted to pull up The Economist on Twitter. So yeah, so check this out. We have The Economist magazine. We have the official Economist on Twitter, and we have what do we have here? We have their cover image, which is using this really interesting. What is this? It's like a US dollar and skeleton. Yeah, and what does this mean? Is this like a death to the dollar? Skull means death, and this is the dollar. And I think that means death to the dollar. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that. Let me know what you think about that in the show notes below. I wonder if I didn't check their homepage. I want to see if there's something on their homepage. Oh yeah, here we go. So yep, it's the cover of their latest magazine cover as well. The case for taxing death. So that's that cover. Very interesting, nevertheless. Moving on. Hey, take a look at this. This is our what are we looking at here? We are looking at our videos on YouTube. I think I can show you this. So we have our last couple of videos right here. Just get out of the way. How do I change this? Hold on a second. Sorry about this. Okay, here we go. All right, this works better. So what do we have here? So we have our past couple of videos. So here's our 122,000 views, 0 dislikes. Pretty awesome. It's about over 10% view to like ratio. So we think that's pretty awesome when we have, that sort of view to like ratio. Here we have some other videos. So here's our 123 NASDAQ, 696 views, 0 dislikes. So, a lot of, zeros over here. 125, we have 0 dislikes. 127, we have 0 dislikes. 128, we have 0 dislikes. But look at this, 3 in the row. Not suitable for most advertisers, review requested. Not suitable for most advertisers, review requested. Not suitable for most advertisers, review requested. And so this is just, I just wanted to show you guys, some of you guys talk about this. Some of you guys mentioned this in the comments. I get emails about this, semi-regularly, where people asking what's going on. Thank you for the content. Why isn't the channel succeeding? And I just want to help you understand what's going on in YouTube and the YouTube Armageddon, what do they call that? The censorship. I'm forgetting about it. YouTube, Admageddon, whatever. So every single video, practically every single video, immediately. Not this one wasn't immediate. So 128, it wasn't immediate. And so what happened with 128 is that we got a lot of views rather quickly. We reached 1,000 views. And so this 1,000 view one is going to get approved quicker because these other ones which are under 1,000, because these were hit much, much sooner. These have to wait now. They're going to be slower to gain a full 1,000 views. And then this review that I requested is not going to go through to them. They're not going to actually review my request until after this video hits over 1,000. So yeah, what kind of BS is that? And so what does that mean? So if there's two videos that are equal on YouTube, and one video has ads and the other video has no ads, YouTube or Google or Alphabet, they're going to prioritize the video that has ads because they have a financial incentive to do so. So with these videos, if they're saying that there's no ads on these videos, then they're taking these videos and it's reducing the visibility of these videos in Google, the number of people who are seeing these videos in Google, because other content is getting prioritized, you know, and because that content and, you know, isn't triggering Google's rules or YouTube's rules, right? So I don't know. Let me know what you think about this in the show notes below. Let me know if you think this is ridiculous. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to make this go away. I've sort of reached out to YouTube. You know, I'm just not a big influencer or anything like that. I don't have a large audience, even though it's 5,000 people and 5,000 every single one of you guys out there. I just deeply have a deep amount of gratitude and respect and love and appreciation for spending this time with me, watching this content with me. And I think it's a lot of fun. And this is like a passion of mine. I plan on continuing to do this, but I want to increase my visibility. And this is just really difficult. So every time you like this video, you know, it really, really, really helps when you like these videos. Please like these videos. If you like the videos, it helps us, it helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Feel free to go check us out over at mintingcoins.com. Feel free to make a membership over there. And if you're one of the first 500 subscribers or so, then we can upgrade you for free. Just make an account and then send us an email through the website and we'll be happy to upgrade you for free. Yeah, so this is really, really interesting. Let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. Let me know, what do you think about Ethereum and the Ethereum situation? You know, are they going to be the only, is Ethereum going to be its own Ethereum killer? Do you think the stock market crash is going to be happening in the future? Do you think it's going to be happening in 2018? Do you think most people are going to be turning to Bitcoin? Or how do you think that Bitcoin is going to work for people in America and people in Europe as, if and when you think the stock market is going to crash? Okay, so with that being said, anything else here? No. So with that being said, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around. Again, hit that like button. Leave your comments. If you have any comments about anything we talked about, we'd love to keep this conversation going. Find out what you think. And in the meantime, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.